If you are looking to improve your gameplay and dominate in Fortnite, studying the techniques of top pros is essential. Each professional player has a unique fighting style that sets them apart. In this guide, we'll cover 2 tips from each pro, diving deeper into their strategies and how to apply them into your games. So make sure you guys watch to the end because I have a surprise for you. So let's dive in. The first person is Clix, and the first tip for him is masterpiece box fighting. Clix is renowned for his box fighting skills, and his signature moves involves taking walls quickly and editing with precision. One of his best tactics is using a cone inside the opponent's box to block their movement and create unpredictable angles for attacking. He literally was known for 1v1 tokens in box fights, and he has a map for it. And here's how to apply it in game. Head into creative mode and practice wall taking drills. Focus on speed and accuracy when taking walls and placing cones. Once you've secured a wall, try editing quickly to surprise your opponent, and pair these skills with effective crosshair placement to ensure that your edit leads directly into shot. The key here is repetition, and muscle memory will make you faster over time. Tip 2 for Clix is piece control. Clix excels in setting up piece control traps, ensuring he owns the build in critical areas of fight. This tactic locks opponents in place and limits their escape options and gives Clix an upper hand at all times. And here's how to apply it. Use creative maps designed for piece control practice, working on predicting enemy movement and pre-placing builds like walls, cones, and ramps to cut off their escape routes. In fights, always prioritize owning builds around your opponent so they can't reset the fights or escape easily. Like play the Raiders 464 Mechanics V4 training map, or the V6, whatever he just released. It's so good for multiple of these. Alright, the second person is Epic Whale, and tip 1 for Epic Whale is adaptability. Epic Whale is a master at adapting his playstyle based on his opponents and the game's circumstances. He knows when to be aggressive and when to play defensively, depending on what the situation demands. And here's how to apply it into game. Pay attention to your opponent's behavior during fights. If they're overly aggressive, take a defensive approach. Build and wait for them to overcommit. If they're playing passively, apply pressure to force them into mistakes. In comp games, try intentionally changing your playstyle mid-match to practice adaptability. Tip 2 for Epic Whale is layer control. Epic Whale dominates fights by maintaining control of his layer, which helps him avoid third parties and secure better positioning during engagements. And here's how to apply it to your gameplay. Always be aware of your vertical positioning in fights. If you're on low ground, look for opportunities to claim mid or high ground layer. Use ramps and floors to block opponents from taking your layer and build additional barriers to protect yourself from third parties. Layer control is especially important in stacked endgames where space is limited. Alright, now we're on to the third person, and the third person is Mr. Savage. And tip 1 for Mr. Savage is smart rotations. Mr. Savage's game sense is unparalleled, just like Muzz. He's exceptional at planning rotations to avoid unnecessary fights while ensuring he's in prime position for endgame scenarios. And here's how to apply it into game. Spend time studying the map and understanding common rotation paths. Learn where players typically rotate and use less congested routes to stay out of trouble. Use tools like launch pads or Oni Mask when available to rotate safely. If you're in a tournament, always prioritize positioning over unnecessary engagement. Tip 2 for Mr. Savage is endgame poise. Mr. Savage remains calm and calculated during endgames. He executes edits and shots with precision, ensuring he survives chaotic moments. If you don't know what poise means, it basically means to just stay calm. And here's how to apply it into your game. Practice endgame scenarios and scrims or creative maps designed for stacked lobbies. Focus on staying calm by visualizing your moves before making them. If you feel pressured, take deep breaths and slow down your actions to avoid making rash decisions. And I have multiple videos on how to stay calm at all times, so make sure you go check those out at the end of this video. Now we're getting to the fourth person, and that is Mongrel. Tip 1 for Mongrel is aggressive W King. Mongrel is famous for his relentless aggression. He overwhelms opponents with non-stop pressure, lightning fast edits, and clean aim. And here's how to apply it into your game. Improve your edit speed by practicing high pressure editing drills in creative mode. In fights, try to stay one step ahead of your opponent by constantly taking walls, placing cones, and forcing edits. However, don't be reckless like Mongrel is. Always have an escape route or backup plan if things do go wrong. And tip 2 for Mongrel is tunnel vision avoidance. Despite his aggressive nature, Mongrel maintains great awareness of his surroundings. He avoids tunnel visioning on one target, which helps him evade third parties. And here's how to apply it. Use audio cues and use the minimap to keep track of nearby players. If a third party is approaching, disengage and reset the fight. Practicing 1v2 or 1v3 scenarios can help you a lot and develop better awareness and under pressure. The fifth person is Maluka, and tip 1 is tactical patience. Maluka knows when to wait for the perfect moment to strike. Instead of rushing fights, he lets his opponents make mistakes and capitalizes on them. And here's how to apply it into games. During engagements, focus on conserving your materials and ammo while pressuring your opponent enough to force errors. If your opponent is panicking or running low on materials, wait for them to expose themselves before committing to an attack. Tip 2 for Maluka is exploit weaknesses. Maluka has a knack for identifying and exploiting weaknesses in his opponent's builds or strategies. And here's how to apply it. Analyze your opponent's playstyle mid-fight. Are they running low on materials? Are their edits predictable? Are their side jumps predictable? Use this information to gain an advantage. Practice reading opponents in creative mode by fighting players on different skill levels, and personally I would go up against better players as you will get get better over time playing against them. And right before we get into the 5 other pro player tips, if you guys like the video so far, please leave a like as it helps out so very much. But with that, let's get back into the video. The 6th person is Poyo, and tip 1 is advanced angling. Poyo is known for creating unique angles during fights, catching opponents off guard with unexpected edits and shots. And here's how to apply it into your game. Spend time in creative working on unusual edits and building patterns. Try creating side windows or using cone edits to peek from an unexpected spot. And the goal is to be unpredictable, forcing your opponent to constantly guess where you'll attack from. The tip 2 for Poyo is building efficiency. Poyo conserves materials by using efficient builds while maintaining strong defensive structures. Here's how to apply it into your game. Practice using minimal builds during creative fights. Focus on building only what's necessary to protect yourself and gain an advantage. In late game scenarios, this efficiency will give you more materials to outlast your opponents, and you won't have to get a refresh as often. The 7th person is Bolts, and tip 1 for Bolts is aim mastery. Bolts has some of the best aim in Fortnite, allowing him to win fights even against mechanically superior players, even though Bolts is very mechanically superior to most players. And here's how to apply it into games. Use aim trainers like Kovacs or Fortnite's aim duels to refine your tracking and flick shots. In game, focus on crosshair placement, keeping it at head level when aiming around corners or engaging in fights. Tip 2 for Bolts is strafing during fights. Bolts incorporates movements into his fights to make himself harder to hit while landing precise shots. And here's how to apply it into your game. Practice strafing and crouch spamming during engagements. This will make it more challenging for opponents to hit you while improving your own accuracy through consistent aim practice. The 8th person in this list is Rise. Tip 1 for Rise is duo synergy. Rise excels in duo gameplay, especially when coordinating with teammates to outplay opponent. And here's how to apply into game. Communicate clearly with your duo or your trio. Practice call-outs and coordinated attacks to overwhelm enemies and come from multiple different angles. Use creative scenarios to simulate real game duo fights and improve your teamwork. This can also be done for trios. Tip 2 for Rise is pressure plays. Rise is a master at applying relentless pressure, just like Mongrel, forcing opponents to make mistakes, which then you can use Maluka's type of style to capitalize on those mistakes. And here's how to apply it into your game. Keep the pressure by using SMGs or ARs to spray their build, preferably ARs this season. Mix in occasional edits and shotgun shots to keep your opponent on edge. The goal is to make them panic and expose themselves so you can take advantage of them. Not like that guys, don't take advantage of anyone. The 9th person is Seige, and tip 1 for Seige is consistency. Seige's strength lies in his consistency across all game modes. He rarely gets caught off guard and performs well under pressure. He's the most consistent person in Fortnite for most tournaments besides FNCS. And here's how to apply it. Dedicate time to improving your mechanics, game sense, decision making, and review your gameplay regularly to identify mistakes and work on eliminating them. Consistency comes from mastering the fundamentals and applying them into every game you play. And tip 2 for Seige is zone awareness. Seige excels at predicting and playing zones, which gives him a significant edge in tournaments. Here's how to apply it into your game. Study zone movement patterns and prioritize early rotations. Use builds to secure advantageous positions before others arrive. Being proactive with zone management reduces the risk of being caught in the storm or in bad fights. And the 10th person is Cammy. Tip 1 is his hybrid playstyle. Cammy seamlessly blends aggression and defense, adapting to the flow of the game, which is really hard to do. How to apply it? Practice alternating between offense and defensive tactics. If you're losing a fight, switch to a defensive strategy and look for opportunities to reset. If you have the upper hand, press your advantage with calculated aggression and outplay the opponent. Tip 2 for Cammy is storm surge management. Cammy is highly skilled at managing storm surge thresholds and tournaments by taking early damage traits. And here's how to apply into your game. Focus on tagging your opponents early in the game to ensure you stay above the storm surge threshold. Use long-range weapons like DMRs or ARs to deal safe damage while maintaining your positioning. Look, improving your Fortnite gameplay requires learning from the best. By incorporating these tips from pros like Clix, Epic Whale, Mr. Savage, and others, you can elevate your fighting skills and dominate in any match. Remember, practice makes perfect, so dedicate time to mastering these techniques in creative mode and real games. Good luck, and if you guys did enjoy this video, once again, please like and subscribe as it helps me out a lot. And go check out some of my creative maps linked in the description and in the comments section. Anyways, I love you all. You guys have a great rest of your day. Peace, guys.